Well, first off, I wanted to say congratulations and thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
All right, so let's jump right into these questions. So this is a historic moment for the state because not only have you worked under the current governor, but you're also the first woman to hold this position. So how do you think this shift in perspectives will further the state of Louisiana?
You know, I mean, I think that it's great to have two women now in statewide elected office. I don't think we've ever had a Secretary of State or we had a Commissioner of Elections, I think, some time ago. So it is, I think, a really important thing that we now have two women in statewide elected office, and being the first Attorney General, first woman Attorney General, certainly means something to me when I think about the legacy that I'll leave the state and the mark that I might make on history. But at the end of the day, I really think it's about my vision for the office. And I've had a vision for this office for some time, and it is based in, professionalism, leadership, and a commitment to the rule of law.
You and Governor Landry are no strangers. You worked under him as a Solicitor General for many years, and it seems the two of you are very politically aligned. Is there any place that you think the two of you differ, or a place that could separate you from his tenure?
I don't think I could identify something specific where we might have a difference of opinion. I think that we come from different types of approaches to the job, and our experiences are different. So just that makes us different right there. I taught at the LSU Law School for 12 years. I clerked in federal and state court for 5 years. I come from a writing background. I was editor-in-chief of the Law Review. I was a journalist before I went to law school. After I taught, I went to work for Governor Jindal. So I was in state government for 6 years before I came to the Attorney General's office. Very committed view towards separation of powers and what the role of the Attorney General is. Have always felt very strongly about that. And I know that now Governor Landry shared that view of the job. But so I couldn't tell you that there's something specific that might cause us to have a difference of opinion. I do think that we approached it from bringing different experiences in our backgrounds.
All right, so the governor has stated that there will be a special session on crime. And I just want to know, what priorities do you hope are pushed through the legislature that would help benefit you in your role and what you're trying to accomplish?
Crime is a problem that everyone is concerned about in this state. And I think some of the policies that have been discussed and enacted over the last 8 years have probably moved us too far in the direction of increasing crime in the state. And so I'd like to see us move back a little more in getting a safer state where people feel they are safe in their homes and that they can go out and be safe in their cars and not be worried about being carjacked like in New Orleans. I think that we're going to have to look at what the policies are that are brought up in the criminal session, but I do support a lot of the policies that I think are being embraced by the district attorneys and the sheriffs. And I think that some of the policies that are sometimes proposed have a negative effect on the people who are the most vulnerable in our communities. That's who it hits first. And so I think we've seen a rise in crime, and we need to pay attention to where that rise hits the hardest. When we talk about how to avoid making someone a victim of or someone becoming a part of the criminal justice system, in terms of being an inmate in a prison or a juvenile in the juvenile justice system, I think that starts with early education. It starts with focusing on youth when they are young. Truancy is an enormous problem in our community. We need to invest in policies that will address that problem to try and prevent people from becoming part of that system in the first place. But we can't ignore what happens once they are part of the system, or people who continue to be churning in that system over and over again.
So you mentioned that sometimes the policies that are proposed end up hurting the people they're intended to protect. Can you give me an example?
So I think if you look at some of the communities that are struggling, right? Those people who struggle to pay their bills every month, communities where there's higher crime rates. When you take some of these people, whether they are juveniles or adults, and they have been arrested over and over again, and they are put right back into those communities, what we see is higher crime rates in those communities first. So, you're not talking about a community where someone can move and build a moat around their house. You're talking about a community where these particular actors are coming back into the community and committing crimes in that community. And I think that's something that we really need to look very closely at.
Well, part of the former governor's legacy is crime reform. Is there any policy from his administration that you would want to change?
I share the view of the sheriffs and the district attorneys that we need to be able to prosecute juveniles in the adult system. We need to be able to move them at a younger age. I think we have experimented with what they call raise the age, where it is much harder to move juveniles who are 16 and 17-year-olds out of the juvenile system into the adult system. I think we've got to go back and look at that policy again, because we have seen some extremely hardened individuals being placed in our juvenile facilities. They are attacking the staff. They are attacking other juveniles in the facilities. They're breaking out of the facilities. They are destroying those facilities, and they have demonstrated to us over and over again that they will not comply with the rules that are in place in those facilities. So we have to have an ability to step up so that we can keep those individuals in secure facilities and protect both the younger individuals or the individuals that are supposed to be there and also receiving services, and protect staff and protect them from themselves.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We are out of time.
Thank you for having me.